All right, and welcome to episode 17 of What is Hitman Roulette. Today, we're going to be talking about Berlin. In my opinion, this is the greatest map in this entire trilogy, and in fact, in the entire franchise. I feel like this map is what I've been waiting for since the beginning of Hitman. Since I first picked up Codename 47 in 2000, couldn't even play it on the computer I had back then. Finally got invested into the franchise and Silent Assassin came out. And then when Contracts came out, I became a speedrunner, 2004. Ever since the very beginning of my Hitman journey, I've been searching for a map like this. This is exactly what I want and what I feel is the best representation of what should be a Hitman map. It has all the bells and whistles. It's not just a fantastic map for roulettes, but it's also fantastic for speedrunning, for Sasso, for contracts, etc. It doesn't matter what it is. This map is perfect for everything. The design is fluid. The atmosphere is maybe only second to China. I really, really love the atmosphere in China. But besides that, it's a fantastic atmospheric tone that we have in this map. I mean, the first time you ever play this map, you're dropped into it not knowing what the fuck you're doing. You have no weapons on you. All you have is a cell phone. Diana isn't anywhere to be heard, which is actually kind of nice for a change, and you just dropped off in the middle of the dark wilderness right in front of a gas station with no idea what your objectives are. It's a fantastic concept, and as you progress through the mission, you realize you're being hunted by ICA agents that you have to then hunt yourself. So not only are you being hunted, but you then become the hunter. The whole idea of that in a Hitman game is phenomenal. I wish they would do more like this, but I feel if they did more maps like this, it would kind of cheapen the idea of Berlin itself, and I don't want them to do that, so I'm just going to say, amazing job, IOI. You really knocked it out of the park with this one. Berlin is fucking amazing. Now, as of the release date of this video, this is the final member of the Big Five. It has a total of 5 targets that you need to kill, although there are technically 10 targets on the map. You just have your pick of the litter of the 10 targets. You can choose whatever 5 ones you want and eliminate them as you see fit. So Colorado has been the reigning champ since 2016 for the most amount of targets in a mission, and it wasn't really overtaken until Hitman 3 came out and we found Berlin. 5 targets seems daunting at first, but it's really not too bad as you can kind of go about them in any order that you want, and you have your pick of the litter of which ones you want to choose from. So it definitely makes up for the potential severe difficulty in that sense. However, when it comes to roulette spins, looking at a spin and finding a way to truly optimize a spin as best you can, as quickly as you can, when you happen to be facing an opponent in a tournament setting, for example, that is one of the trickiest things in the game, I think. Berlin is very underestimated by many players in the community. A lot of people don't really put this in the same category as maps as Haven Island or Colorado or even Bangkok in terms of difficulty, but I beg to differ in that sense. Berlin is very difficult. It's extremely hard to master this map because there's a lot going on. There are a limitless amount of strats on this map. There really isn't any meta aside from one strategy, which we'll discuss in a minute here. So there really aren't any go-to tutorial ways on how to do this mission. You kind of just have to figure it out on your own. And the best part, I think, about Berlin is when you're watching 2 players go at it in a Roulette Rivals competition, you are never going to see identical strats from both players. Even in maps like Haven Island, sometimes you'll see both players start Villa Staff, they'll both isolate Tyson. In Mumbai, sometimes you'll see both players start Skywalk. They're going to both isolate the Maelstrom, both get the Holy Man, both changing them Holy Man. You know how it fucking goes. Even in Santa Fortuna, it's a lot less common in Santa Fortuna, but a lot of the time you'll have some players start Manchester Staff, both of them, or they'll both start Submarine Crew, or they'll both start Suit Default, try to isolate Andrea at the beginning. So it does happen that a lot of the time, at least for the first couple of minutes of a spin, you'll have 2 players going at it using very much identical strats. That is almost never the case in Berlin. You're almost always going to be watching 2 completely different strategies and 2 completely different ideas from 2 completely different players. It's so much fun to watch. This map is pretty much the closest thing to a perfect map as far as this game is concerned. It is phenomenal. The one exception to that perfection concept I just brought up is the strategy known as the Rolf lure. That's a lure that we're going to be talking about a little bit later in the video, but for now I just want to mention that the Rolf lure sucks major ass. I hate the Rolf lure. The fact that that strategy exists and is very viable for maybe 5% of spins in this map it really detracts from this map's otherwise perfect everything. The roll fluor basically makes the map play itself and removes almost all intrigue of the map from a typical roulette spin. And it cheapens the overall feel of the map when you see a spin and you're able to identify it right off the bat. Oh, this is definitely a roll fluor spin. I mean, on the bright side, it does take quite a while to get to the level, competitively speaking, where you're able to automatically recognize a spin and know within seconds that this is a roll fluor. It's optimal to do this with a roll fluor strat. It does take a while to get to that level, but once you're at that level and you see a roll fluor spin when you see one, it just, for me personally, my brain just completely shuts down. I hate that because I'm going into Berlin hoping for a really good time. I want to have a good show. I want to be able to enjoy myself from the start to finish in this map. This map is so fucking sick. And then roll fluor pops up and it's like, man, I might as well be playing fucking Dartmoor. Like, it just completely ruins an otherwise perfect map. So, that's my thoughts on the roll fluor strat. I will talk more about that when we get to that. But for now, despite that one strategy that is only used for, like I said, only about 5% of spins in this map is amazing. I highly recommend people learn this one. And going forward in this video, I'm going to be discussing the starting locations and the isolations for the targets in a little bit of a different formula than we're used to in this series. As I said, there really aren't any meta strats, so each starting location is going to pose its own opportunities for isolating the 5 targets in under a certain amount of time. Every starting location allows you to isolate the 5 targets in around the 3.5-4 minute mark, or faster in some cases. And I'm going to be showing you ideas that I kind of came up with along the way through my countless hours of practice on this map. I don't even know how many hours logged in just Berlin. I'm assuming hundreds, probably more, but if I lowball it, probably about 200 hours just logged in Berlin by itself. This map is my addiction. I live here. I don't really play any map even close to the amount of times I play Berlin, except for maybe Santa Fortuna. I've done over 1,000 spins in Santa Fortuna. I don't think I've quite hit that number with Berlin, but they're pretty neck and neck. I love both those maps, and they're definitely my 2 strongest maps in the trilogy. But as far as knowledge goes, I think I know as much as I possibly can about Berlin. Of course, there's always more things to learn because it's Hitman, but as far as the general consensus of how this map works, I'm very confident in my abilities in this map. I'm very confident in my knowledge, and so I hope I can share some of my knowledge with you in this video here, and you can take my ideas and do with them what you will. As I said, there really aren't any meta strats, so just kind of do what I'm showing you here in your own way. Whatever makes it easier for you to optimize. Maybe you can even optimize things a little easier and make them faster. Make the strats that I'm going to show you here for each starting location faster than what I'm displaying for this video. Who knows? But like I said, we're going to be going from starting location to starting location and discussing each target isolation method that I think is appropriate for the starting location that we're going to be talking about. So without further ado, let's head into the first starting location now. Starting things off with the Bartender starting location, this one is actually really damn good because you have immediate access to Florida Man. What you're going to do is you're going to start right off with a Seeker, and you're going to go around this corner here and Seeker Florida Man right from the beginning. He's going to go isolate himself. At that point, you want to grab your stash. I would suggest putting something in the projection bar so that you have a stash point right there at the ready as soon as you start the map. Florida Man's going to go isolate himself. When he does, you can just KO him by any means necessary and leave his body there, as nobody's going to come see his body unless you make some crazy noise over here, obviously. And disguise yourself as Florida Man and get upstairs. From this point, you should have 1 Seeker Dart left, obviously. You're going to head into the Biker Lounge, the biker hangout area upstairs where Lowenthal is walking around. Once the coast is clear and you're able to take a shot on Lowenthal, Seeker him and then book it out of the biker area through this garage door here. The next step that I like to do, because we still have a little bit of time left before the rest of the targets line up perfectly in their cycles for us to KO them, is I like to take out the delivery guy, grab his keys, dump his body, and then head over back to Lowenthal once he's puking in the bathroom. Knock out Lowenthal at that point, and then head back over to the open area, and at this point you're going to want to chain lure Swan. Just go about it as I'm doing it on screen here. Make sure he doesn't see you because you can be ripped here if somebody else gets an exclamation point over their head, besides the target, obviously. Knock out Swan, and you should be able to leave his body here without any issues. Then head back the way you came, and you'll see Thames straight ahead of you, right by the truck and the 2 club security guards talking to each other. You're going to need to do another throw distraction so that Thames gets lured over here. Just make sure it's a little bit further away from the club security guys, and not too close to them, because if you do throw it a little bit closer to them, then you have a good chance that one of them is going to come investigate the throw and not Thames. You really want Thames to check it out. From here, just KO Thames, and then make your way up to the top of the roof via the ladder. The rooftop is pretty convenient, as you have immediate access to green up here. All you have to do is KO this one guy up here in your way, the one club security guy that's just chilling. KO green, and from that point, you're going to do a really cool strat called the banner lure. Banner is directly below the skylight area up here. Shoot 3 well-placed shots, preferably with the SMG you just picked up from green, right beside banner, just to panic him. At that point, he's going to start running directly up to your direction, so just make your way down the stairs yourself. Don't go all the way down the stairs, but meet him about halfway. You're going to stop at about this point here, as showcased on screen, and as soon as Banner makes his way up past you, just throw a crowbar at him or whatever you got on you to KO him, and you should be good to go. This throw can be a little bit tricky, as Banner is running pretty quick, so just make sure you practice this one and you should be fine. Once Banner's KO'd, there you go. About sub 430, you've got all 5 targets isolated, and you have immediate access to the Florida Man disguise. Florida Man is by far the biggest bitch in this map. He tends to glitch out on occasion. It's very rare, but it does happen. It happened to me, funnily enough, in the goddamn grand finals match of Roulette Rivals 7. In my match versus Ducker, first time Florida Man ever glitched out for me in the history of me playing this map, and yeah, it just happened to be during a grand finals match, so what the hell are you gonna do, right? But the fact that you can get Florida Man right off the bat, if he does appear in a spin, and the spin doesn't have suit in it, that's just more valuable than I can even say. Get him immediately, and you won't have to look back ever again. You've got Florida Man and 5 targets down, sub 430. That's a pretty beefy strat. Starting Biker is a phenomenal decision. This starting position allows you to isolate all 5 targets before even the 3-minute mark a lot of the time. So, provides you with a lot of advantages right off the bat. And as a matter of fact, the Biker disguise is without a doubt the best disguise in the entire map. It does have a few enforcers throughout the map, but not too many. All the targets, of course, are enforcers for the Biker, but you can carry every single weapon in the map, even the weapons that Rolf Hirschmüller is not allowed to carry. Those include the sniper rifle and the scrap sword. For some reason, only the Biker can carry the scrap sword, so beats the hell out of me. Anyways, you're going to start Biker and get your stash, and then you're going to head over to Thames. He's the first target you're going to isolate. You're going to do the typical throw distraction we already talked about. You're going to knock him out. Once he's KO'd, you're going to head straight up to the rooftop. You're going to KO green, and then you're going to initiate the banner lure. Once Banner is starting to head upstairs, you will see on the screen here that he's actually going to trigger Montgomery. Because of the timing of this lure, when you actually placed the shots to lure Banner up here at that time, Montgomery was in the perfect spot in his cycle that he's going to be affected by Banner's panic, and Montgomery's going to start panicking himself. You don't need to worry about Montgomery coming up to you, but you will see that he is panicking himself. Knock out Banner, as you saw before, and then you're going to be heading down in this area here, right behind this curtain thing. This divider, whatever the hell you want to call it, I don't know what it's called, but stay back here and do a throw distraction at about the 155, 154 timestamp, something like that, as long as Davenport, the target straight ahead of you, is the closest NPC to the throw distraction, so that he goes to investigate the distraction and not one of the guards that's around the same area. Davenport's going to investigate the distraction, and when he does, he's going to go around the curtain thing, and you can knock him out and drag his body over to the box over here. From there, you still have plenty of time to go down the stairs where you KO'd Banner. You'll see Montgomery and his guard are still panicking somewhat, and once they stop, they'll continue along their cycle as they do. KO Montgomery's guard when the coast is clear, and then KO Montgomery. There you go. Sub 3 minutes most of the time, depending on how the RNG is for Montgomery's panic cycle. You'll have all 5 targets down. So if the spin indicates a spin where you're allowed to KO 5 targets, then Biker Strat is almost always the way to go. If Suit isn't in the spin, or if Florida Man isn't in the spin, Biker might always be the way to go. But sometimes even if Florida Man is in the spin, Biker still might be the way to go. Biker is a really, really powerful starting location, and what I've described here is just scratching the surface of how good this position actually is. Club Crew is a really solid starting position, almost as good as Biker, but for different reasons and in different ways. You have almost immediate access to the free Bartender disguise right off to the side. You can deal with Swan right away with a secret shot, say you need to drown him or something. So it definitely has its perks. You can poison the drink that's just to your left when you start the map. There's lots of options here, but what I'm going to showcase here is more or less what you're going to do as Bartender, just in a different order. You're going to get Swan first with a seeker shot, and you need to be very careful with the shot. Then you're going to get Delivery Guy taken out and dumped into a box, and then you're going to head into the Biker Lounge and do the same thing you did on Swan, but to Lowenthal. So now you got 2 of the targets sick with your 2 seeker darts, and at that point you're going to head right over to Thames. Thames is walking away right by the crane that's holding up the big cement cylinder there. That's a perfect opportunity to get someone for a falling object kill. So KOing Thames over here is definitely a good option, as no NPCs can see him. Everybody else that's on the map that can potentially see him here is just out of visual range of seeing an unconscious or dead body on the ground here. So he's completely fine isolated here as is, without even needing to box or hide him in a bush. And this is a perfect opportunity if you need a falling object kill a little bit later on. You can just drag his body right onto the crane cylinder thing and shoot that from a distance whenever you're ready to get the kill. From here, it's just standard shit. Head right over to Swan, KO him before he stops puking, do the same thing with Lowenthal, KO him before he's done puking, and get right up to the rooftops. Once the first 3 targets are KO'd, you have a couple options here. If you're quick enough, you might be able to make Davenport's cycle at around the 152, 153, 154 mark, something like that, with the throw distraction I showcased earlier. But if you're not confident about that one, you might want to just do the rooftop lure with green and getting Banner up there as well. Either way, you've got 5 targets isolated, sub 330 guaranteed. Excellent starting position. Club Crew is very underutilized, I think. A lot of people don't actually understand how good this position is. This starting position presents a lot of opportunity for a lot of different spins, and I'm quite fond of it myself. I'll take it a lot of the time over Bikers, since it just puts you in a much more convenient position for electrocution kills, drown kills, consumed poison attempts, stuff like that. Now we're going to be talking about the suit starting locations. There are 2 suit starting locations that are viable for roulette spins. Of course, there's the bus stop, but no one's ever going to use that one. The first one is the Rave-On. This is by far the most popular suit starting location, and I'm here to disprove the theory that Rave-On is superior to Radio Tower just because it starts in the club. It's not. Radio Tower is just as good, if not better, than Rave-On, and I choose it 100% of the time over Rave-On, even if the spin looks like it's a better spin to be done with Rave-On. I've surprised myself many times in the past attempting a spin with Rave-On, assuming that it's going to be better that way because it just looks like everything is lined up perfectly for a Rave-On start, only to find out later that if I had started Radio Tower, I would have saved half a minute or something like that. It's actually pretty absurd how so many people just assume that Rave-On is better just because it starts in the club. 1, you only have 3 loadout slots for this frickin' starting position, so that sucks. And yes, Baleen is very forgiving when it comes to your loadout slots, so you don't need to really bring any gear in Baleen a lot of the time, simply because the map just provides everything you pretty much need for almost any kill that you could see in a spin. However, keep in mind that this map still has 5 targets, so the odds of you seeing a suit spin where you do need to bring several pieces of gear with you into the map are quite high. And 2, the way that the targets align themselves as you're starting from this position is really not much different from if you were to start Radio Tower. Everything aligns itself super smoothly from Radio Tower, whereas Rave-On, you have to do a little bit of extra work. So you're going to start Rave-On, you're going to go straight up to the roof, you're going to do green and the banner lure just like I showed here, and then you're going to head downstairs. From here, you're going to line up the throw distraction for Davenport again, KO him when the coast is clear, and drag his body over to the box. At that point, you have a couple of options here. What I typically like to do here is isolate Lowenthal, specifically because he allows for ample opportunity for multiple spins. Lowenthal is a prime candidate for loud weapons because he has 2 doors in between him and other NPCs once he's isolated in the bathroom after you get him sick. And then on top of that, he is the primary candidate you're going to be using for fire kills, because he's the only target that's near a fire barrel. You can also get Swan here, but I prefer Lowenthal specifically because of those reasons. So get into the biker hangout, and for this you're going to need an emetic device because you probably brought a pistol with you, and there is no other room to bring anything else as far as guns are concerned, so you have to bring an emetic device with you, planted by Lowenthal, get him sick, and then head out through the garage door again. Next, you're going to need to do a throw distraction for Thames here again, and KO him once you're ready. Then I like to head over to the delivery guy, make sure that I get him and his keys out of the way, because I hate being caught with my pants down when it's time to exit, and I've completely forgot about the delivery guy's keys. Not to mention, delivery guy pops up in spins more often than not, so it's always handy to have him ready to go. Then head over to Lowenthal and KO him. Every target and the delivery guys should be isolated and KO'd by around the 330 mark. So yes, Ravon is decent for isolating targets, but it is Berlin. There are 5 targets. A lot of the time you're going to need a little extra gear to deal with the spin, even if it's just a couple of tranks to make sure that it's a quality of life situation. Now, it's not often that you need to bring the gear, and Ravon can usually get the job done, but I just say, what's the point if Radio Tower isn't that much worse, if it's worse at all? In my opinion, it's better, just because you can bring more gear, and the timing difference from isolating the 5 targets is almost nothing. So now I'm going to prove my case with Radio Tower Start, and I'm going to display how I like to go about it. I'm going to purposely drag this one out a little bit and make things a little longer here, just to really drive home the point that this is a fantastic starting spot, and it's overlooked way too often. From the forest start here, you're going to head straight through the forest, through this crowd of NPCs. You can pick up this brick along the way, you can pick up the canister along the way, all that stuff. This crowbar is super important. Crowbars are always important. You can never have too many crowbars. The first target you're going to be approaching just after the 1 minute mark is Thames. Immediately knock him out and take his gun, and then head straight over to the camera, shoot the camera out, and head over to Lowenthal. I like to get Lowenthal sick here with the Seeker, as usual. It's just kind of my thing. I haven't really seen too many other people use emetics on the targets in this map, but it's a pretty handy strat considering they basically isolate themselves. And if you can bring a Seeker, which with Radio Tower Start you almost always can, then isolating the targets with this starting position becomes nothing but a breeze. Once Lowenthal is sick, you can shoot out the other camera in the biker area here, and then head over to set up the throw distraction for Davenport. I was a bit slow here and I almost missed the timing, but I still managed to get it. Normally after getting Lowenthal sick, you have more than enough time to set up the Davenport throw distractions, so don't judge what you're seeing on the screen right here, as I just kind of fucked up. Once you've knocked out Davenport, you have options here. You can choose to either get to the rooftops and isolate Green and do the banner lure. Get that done and you'll have all 5 targets isolated around the 330 mark as well. Or you can do what I'm doing here. I head over to Swan and I get him sick. Then I take out the delivery guy and I stash him in the dumpster. Then I head back over to Lowenthal at that point and we KO him. Then you head right back over to Swan, you KO him, and there's 4 targets isolated. At this point, I'm just kind of trying to prove a point here. I'm heading down to get Chamberlain. Chamberlain isolates himself in a room with a couple of club securities by a camera box downstairs. It's right kitty corner from Rolf's office. You're going to take the stairs down right past the secret passageway, right where you would go up the stairs to isolate Lowenthal. The same set of stairs you would use to enter the biker hangout, except instead of going up the stairs, you're going to go down the stairs. You're going to go straight ahead, and there's a pole on your left side just past this doorway here. You're going to climb down this pole, and now you're in Rolf's office. Head through Rolf's office and straight through these doors here. Shoot the camera out right above you. And directly to your left, straight ahead, you'll see Chamberlain. He's talking to 2 club security guys in the side room there. I chose to proxy trigger the conversation that he was having with the club security guys just to see how long it extends the time before I'm able to KO Chamberlain. It's super convenient to have a target KO'd downstairs in case there's a disguise downstairs or the kill method downstairs that you need. It just makes things a lot easier. It makes it so you can get the disguise and get the kill downstairs. You don't have to get the disguise, walk all the way upstairs, get the kill, go all the way back downstairs in case you need another downstairs disguise. It eliminates a lot of time loss that would potentially be an issue later on in the spin. And look at that. All things considered, even though I went for the slower strat, so I went for Swan and then I went for Chamberlain, which would normally cost me about 20 to 30 seconds as it is, and then I proxy triggered the conversation Chamberlain was having with the club security guys, which extended my time even longer by a few seconds, and it was only a 40-second difference. So in exchange for a 40-second difference, I was able to isolate a target downstairs. I was able to isolate the other 4 targets upstairs easily enough. I got the delivery guy and his keys, and I managed to get extra gear with me on the way because I started Radio Frickin' Tower. This target isolation procedure that I did for Radio Tower is very viable for a number of spins because, again, having a target KO'd downstairs is invaluable. I cannot begin to describe how good that is. I'm not saying stop using Ravon Start. Ravon Start is still viable for tons of spins. I still think it's a good starting position. I just don't think it's as good as Radio Tower, and I implore a lot of players, especially if you're a Berlin enthusiast, give Radio Tower more of a chance because you are sacrificing precious gear that you could be bringing with you for more or less the exact same time difference. Just because you're spawning in the forest at the beginning of the map does not mean that you're saving yourself time. The targets line up perfectly for you to isolate them in just the same amount of time with Radio Tower as it would be if you were to start Ravon. And now, Let's move on and talk about the infamous Rolf lure. From DJ start, the Rolf lure can be done pretty much immediately as soon as you start the map. You just need to bring a trank with you, you head out the door from DJ start, you grab this wrench here to make life easier for yourself, and you climb this ladder. Then you climb on top of the vents over here, and you head to the left after dropping down. Head into Rolf's room here, trank Rolf, then trank the biker directly ahead of you, and then KO the biker that's remaining. Now, Rolf HITMAN has a card on him that you can use to contact Montgomery. Grab it off of Rolf's body, and then head over to the intercom phone thing over here, whatever it is. Don't trigger the conversation with Montgomery just yet, though. You want to wait until about the 42-second, 43-second mark. The reason for that is you want Chamberlain to get over to the right side of the club as far as he can, just because you want to peekaboo Chamberlain as soon as the Rolf lure is initiated. It's much easier to peekaboo him when he's coming from the right side than it is coming from the left side, so trust me, just wait it out a couple of seconds and then initiate the Rolf lure. Chamberlain's going to make his way over, and you are going to peekaboo him by opening the doors here and hiding behind these boxes once you peekabooed him. Do a corner subdue on Chamberlain and drag him into the side room here. From that point, you want to make sure that you are changed into the Rolf HITMAN disguise, and the next target that comes down the stairs that you'll be able to KO is Thames. KO Thames and wait for Montgomery. Montgomery should be showing up just now. As soon as Montgomery comes through the doors, he'll see the gear that Chamberlain left on the floor once you KO Chamberlain. That's a good way to distract Montgomery. Just KO Montgomery at that point and drag him into the room with Chamberlain. The next two targets you'll need to deal with are Banner and Davenport. They're now in Rolf's office as well. Just KO them one by one. Make sure the doors are closed so nobody hears or sees anything. Drag Davenport's body over out of the way, and that's it. Rolf lure complete. You do need to keep an eye on Montgomery's guard, as he does come through the doors, but he's easy enough to deal with. He'll see the stuff that's left on the floor from Montgomery and Chamberlain. That's going to distract him enough to get a perfect back KO on the guy, and that's it. No other NPCs come in this room. This strat is unbelievably broken. The Rolf lure is on another level of ridiculousness. I cannot stand this strat. It completely ruins what's otherwise a perfect map. A lot of people compare this strat to the brick lure in Mumbai, and that could not be further from accurate. It's completely different. It's way more powerful. The brick lure you can easily rip doing if you get caught with some bad RNG while trying to take out Vanya's guards and Rima. Dawood can be a huge nightmare to deal with if you don't have a snail and you haven't practiced the snail isolation on him. It's completely different. Setting up the disguises is something you either need to do right before the brick lure or directly after it. It's rare that you actually be able to have both disguises at the ready when the brick lure is initiated, and you're going to be running around the map doing a bunch of setup before you can even do the brick lure. The Rolf lure you can do right away. It brings you all 5 targets that you need for the spin. And guess what? You have access to like 6 or 7 frickin' disguises that are in the room with you. You've got Rolf HITMAN, you've got the biker, you have the DJ because you start as DJ, you have club security, you have club crew, you have technician because Banner is a technician. Just around the corner, you have access to the dealer disguise as well because he's downstairs with you. Florida Man is super easy to deal with as well. I'm going to talk about Florida Man strats in a little bit here. You have access to almost every single disguise on the map at your disposal. Not to mention the amount of kill methods. There is a fire axe nearby, there's a screwdriver nearby, there's hobby knives nearby, there are propane tanks nearby. The targets drop SMGs, the bikers drop loud pistols, there's a loud shotgun in the back room. Banner drops a friggin' lethal syringe for injected poison. Not to mention Chamberlain drops a C4 block for loud explosive weapon or just explosive weapon kills in general. This strat is ridiculous. I appreciate that Meme Junkie showed this strat off for the first time in Roulette Rivals 5. It was groundbreaking back then, but now it's just become nothing but a nuisance. I hate this strat. When an obvious Rolf lure strat comes up in a spin, it breaks my brain. I don't even want to play the spin because my favorite map becomes Dartmoor. And I might as well be playing fucking Dartmoor when a Rolf spin pops up. Regardless, though, cool strat. If you've never learned it before, it is pretty cool to learn the first time you do it, but once you've done it a million times, and you do it in an actual match and beat your opponent with the strat, you feel like a piece of shit. So, it doesn't make me feel good to use this strat, but it exists, and it is definitely the one meta strat we have for this map. It's very top tier, and, you know, I don't recommend people ignore it outright. I think everybody should use the strat. It's the most powerful lure in the entire trilogy, but I personally hate it with a fiery passion because it ruins my favorite map. So, anyways, that's that. Rolf lure, eat a dick. So we have a total of 10 disguises to talk about in Berlin, starting off with the bartender. Pretty simple, just start club crew and head into the chill out room right over here, right past this door. There's a free bartender disguise just chilling by the lockers right here. There are obviously bartenders all across the map, especially downstairs if you need one for like a roll floor spin or something like that. But 9 times out of 10 you're going to be going for this free one. Next up we've got the biker. You've seen me grab the free one in the biker hangout several times in this video already. That's where you can go and get Lowenthal sick in the bathroom there. There's just a free biker disguise hanging out there. But of course you can get the biker disguise off of Lowenthal himself. And of course, if you're going to get Rhodes or Tremaine, the other 2 biker disguise targets upstairs from this biker hangout area, you can also get the disguise off them as well. Or really any of the bikers in this frickin' map, it doesn't matter. A lot of the time the free one is the most practical, so it's definitely good to know that that's there. For the club crew disguise, you can choose to start as club crew, which I've already talked about being a great starting position for many spins. However, the most common NPC I'd say you're going to get this disguise off of is actually Thames himself, one of the targets. He's the only one of the targets that wears the club crew disguise, and it's definitely the most practical to go after him if you want this disguise. However, there is a free club crew disguise in the wardrobe room, sort of where the common area is right past the bar over here. This room is kind of out of the way, so not too many people are going to go for this free club crew disguise in this room here, but to know that it's there is definitely a handy thing. The club security disguise is your typical guard disguise where you have your pick of the litter across the map to choose from. Of course, there are many examples in the map, but I chose to go with these 2 specific NPCs here. These are the 2 guys that are hanging out talking with each other, probably getting stoned, and Thames will be cycling back and forth talking to them periodically as well, so that's a good reference point to know where these guys are. You can trank one of them and KO the other, or you can drop a snail and grab one of the disguises. You also have targets that wear this disguise, like Montgomery, Green, and Chamberlain. But also, fun fact, in the room where there's a camera box that you can isolate Chamberlain in, there's a free club security disguise just in the bathroom right over here. If you're in the area and you need this disguise, this free one is probably the way to go a lot of the time. The dealer disguise can be pretty tricky if you don't have a secret dart to get him sick. But if you don't have an emetic device or a secret dart of any sort, then you can walk right up to him and tell him you want to score. He's going to lead you in a back alley somewhere and you can KO him and dump him in a box. Simple as that. Although that's very slow. Definitely, I prefer to go with the secret strat overall. You're going to position yourself behind the cement pillar right here in this little spot and make sure there are no NPCs in the area. There is a wandering bartender, a wandering random NPC, and Florida Man that could potentially rip you if they happen to be here when you take this shot. So just make sure the coast is clear, close the door behind you, shoot him with a secret dart, and he's going to head into this back closet over here. KO him when the door is closed, box him, take his disguise, and away you go. This is a unique disguise with not too many enforcers in the map, but it doesn't allow you very much free traversal around here, so just be aware of that. The delivery guy is really simple. You've seen me KO him in this area so many times already, there's not really much to go over here. Just do a throw distraction by throwing something at these cement bags here. Be careful not to lose whatever it is you're throwing, just in case you might need it if it's a crowbar or something. He's going to come inspect what the throw was, then you can just KO him over here right by the dumpster and box him. Take his disguise, and remember to always grab the keys, because it's very important for the exit. For the DJ disguise, if you're not going to start in the DJ outfit, then I would suggest going for one of these 3 DJs over here. There are 2 that are just hanging out in the sound booth room over here, right past these doors, kitty corner to where the camera box is, where we would isolate Chamberlain earlier. The front door here is locked, so you can choose to either lockpick it, or if you have a crowbar, you can open that with a crowbar, and the 2 guys inside are not going to hear anything because the music is too loud. Otherwise, if you're not in a trespassing disguise, you can go around the back to the back door and open that one freely. Head inside, KO both these guys, just so one of them doesn't end up turning around and seeing the other one KO'd. You can just leave them here. Don't worry about boxing either of the bodies, as long as you don't make any crazy loud noises. Grab one of the disguises, and you're free to go. Simple as that. Now for the infamous piece of shit Florida Man. He is by far the shittiest NPC in this entire map. He can glitch himself once in a blue moon when pigs fly. Every now and again he's gonna eventually decide to teleport himself to the rooftops to go hang out with Green. I don't know what the fuck triggers this. There's no telling when the hell he's gonna do it. He's completely random when he does it. As I already mentioned before in the video, he's only done it for me one time ever, and it happened to be in a grand finals match versus Ducker, which pretty much cost me the whole map actually. So I was pretty pissed about that. It doesn't happen very often, though, so if you can set that one little factor aside, relying on what I know is consistent with Florida Man, you're going to rely on some timestamps for this guy. He has a 5.5 to 6 minute cycle wandering around the projection bar to the downstairs dance area. By just before or just after the 1 minute mark, he's going to be heading down the stairs from the projection bar, and then he's going to continue to walk around the downstairs area by the dance floor, go around the bar downstairs, hang out by the dealer, and come all the way back up the stairs at around the 5:30 mark. Then between the 6:30 and the 7-minute mark, he's going to be heading down the stairs yet again. So get up to the stairs at around one of those timestamps, preferably the 6:30, 7-minute mark, just because that's usually the most practical once you're finished isolating all the targets or dealing with the spin however you see fit. The 6:30 or 7-minute mark for Florida Man gives you ample time to just hang back on the stairs and trank him while he's walking right past the technician. Pretty much when Florida Man is directly behind the technician is the ideal spot to trank Florida Man. Alternatively, you can remote isolate Florida Man. Say you do the Rolf Lure strat. You've isolated all 5 of the targets downstairs, and now you need to get the Florida Man disguise for one of the kills. What I like to do here is place a piece of gum about 4 or 5 stairs up from the flat surface of the floor there on the second set of stairs heading directly up to the projection bar. Florida Man is going to eventually see the gum, he's going to remote isolate himself, and no one should ever see the body here. I've only had it found a few times by a wandering female NPC, but that seems to be pretty RNG. Most of the time, this is a very reliable and very consistent remote isolation for Florida Man. The technician will never turn around to see his body unconscious on the stairs. Just keep in mind that Florida Man, Montgomery, and Montgomery's guard are the only NPCs that walk up and down these stairs, so you do need to take care of Montgomery and his guard if you're going to do this isolation remotely for Florida Man. But there you have it. Once he's isolated, go grab the clothes once you've set up all the kills downstairs for the Rolf Lure, etc. and so forth, and away you go. Next up, we've got the Rolf Hirschmiller disguise. He is the club owner, and he's the second best disguise on the map next to the biker. He has pretty much no enforcers aside from a couple of bikers here and there, and he can carry pretty much any weapon available on the map except for the sniper rifle and the scrap sword. Those 2 weapons are reserved to only be allowed to be carried by the bikers. He's a unique disguise, and the fastest way to grab him, in my opinion, is just to get into his office here and cause a throwing distraction in this corner over here on the right. Then just place yourself behind these lockers here in a way that you're able to corner subdue Rolf as soon as he comes over, dump him in the box here, and disguise yourself as Rolf. There you go. Simple as that. You can also lure him over with a gramophone, but that takes a little bit extra time, and the throw distraction is a lot more consistent. And finally, we have the technician disguise. This one's very simple. I would just go for Banner's disguise 9 times out of 10, simply because you're going to be doing the Banner lure for a lot of target isolations in different starting locations throughout the map. But if you're not going to do the Banner lure and you don't want to get the technician off of Banner, there is a very easy technician to grab that's right on the stairs where you would KO Florida Man. This guy's just chilling here. He's not going to ever move. He has no cycle. He just chills and smokes and hangs out and watches over the dance floor. Just trank him here, take his disguise, and away you go. That's all there is to it. Alright, and that about does it for disguises. Now, there aren't too many disguises in this map, like I mentioned, considering it's one of the big 5 maps. It's similar to Colorado in that sense. Few disguises, but lots of targets. So, it makes up for it in other ways. But all the disguises are more or less pretty easy to get. Obviously, except for Florida Man, who can be a bit of a bitch sometimes. But besides his dumb ass, there really isn't too much in the way of difficulty when it comes to these disguises. They're all fairly easy to get. And when it comes to the big 5 maps, it's definitely good to be thankful for small mercies like that. Anyways, we're going to be going forward and moving on to the spin demonstration, which I'm super excited about because I fucking love this map. It's just incredible. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we get here. I haven't actually done the spin demonstration yet during the making of this particular vocal recording section in the video, so I'm super pumped to see what we get. Hope it's going to be interesting. But who am I kidding? It's fucking Baleen, so hell yeah, it's going to be interesting. Alright, and we got a really interesting spin here, of course, because it's Baleen. The spins in this map are always interesting. So, we've got one agent must be killed with a fall dressed as Rolf Hirschmiller. The other one must be killed with consumed poison as the dealer. Another agent must be killed with electrocution as the technician. The 4th agent must be killed with a loud pistol as club security. And a 5th agent must be killed with a falling object as the bartender. Pretty damn cool spin. I love that there is consumed poison, electrocution. All of these are pretty much accidents aside from the ballistic kill. So, very interesting in that sense. I'm opting to start Club Crew here because I want free access to the bartender disguise right off the bat. I'm going to bring a seeker with me as well as a pistol, a crowbar, and some lethal pills. This should be a one and done. I've got a pretty decent plan planned out for this already, so hopefully it's a decent spin and I don't make myself look like a moron on my favorite map. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to turn on that little fuse thing, that little whatever it's called, and grab the bartender disguise. What I did there was I flicked on the outlet so that the fucking electrocution thing that I'm going to be shooting in a little bit for Swan is activated. I just need to shoot it. So, and expose the wire or whatever the hell it's called. So, anyways, that's the electrocution kill pretty much half set up, I guess. And I'm going to do the delivery guy lure now. I'm going to KO his bitch ass and grab his car keys. Except this guy's a broke ass piece of shit and only owns a scooter. What a scrub. Just kidding. Scooters are the tits. So shoot at this camera because it's trash. And this is a cool little strat. I like to shoot under here sometimes, depending on the spin, obviously, what it is. But I've seen Agent 420 do this in tournament as well. It's a pretty awesome way to get Thames to lure himself under the falling object there, right under the crane there. He is just radioing in, and I'm going to aim up and shoot the thing right now. And there's Thames deaded. Good shit. First kill's already done. So you need to keep in mind that the spin has the kills in a specific order. You don't have to do the kills in order. Whatever targets and kill methods you're able to do in whatever order you're able to do them is perfectly acceptable for any spin in Berlin. But there's Agent Green. So if you were to shoot the crane and have the thing come down when it did, Green is in his cycle at that exact timestamp, around the minute mark. And Green would be alerted by the explosion of the big cement thing, and he would make his way downstairs. So you can technically lure Green downstairs with that little trick, but yeah, it's not very practical a lot of the time. So it depends on what the spin is. I've done it for a couple of spins, but you don't really need to worry about getting Green down there most of the time. So what I'm doing here is I'm clearing out the rooftops. We did the banner lure. We're going to get banner all the way on the top of the roof. I don't want to just KO him halfway because I'm actually going to get him with a loud ballistic kill later. We've got Green up here for the fall kill, and we're going to have banner up here for the loud ballistic kill because there's a semi-soundproof area on this roof here if you KO all the NPCs on there. There are 3 guards and Green on the roof naturally. So, yeah. KO everybody on the roof, and you can make it pretty much soundproof. It's soundproof-ish. I mean, the gunshot is still technically heard by the guards downstairs, but they're just kind of frozen in place with their guns out, freaking out, and then they just put the guns away. And, yeah, it's not a big deal. But anyway, we KO'd Banner there. He's on the rooftop with Green now. And I'm getting a bit of whoosh here by this little NPC behind me. But this little prick, the guy I just seekered there, I seekered him to get him the hell out of the way for this. Because there is the exposed wire I shot. And I'm dropping a crowbar so that nobody goes over to the exposed wire and kills themselves. That is the setup for Swan. And the reason I got that one NPC sick is because he's the only other NPC in the area that goes in the puddle on his natural cycle. Now, just because of where he happened to be in his cycle, I got quite lucky there. He's completely RNG. But I wanted to seeker him and make sure that he is absolutely going to stay the hell out of the puddle. So, and I poisoned the drink there. That drink being poisoned is for Davenport. He is going to die around the 5-minute mark, just after the 5-minute mark. Davenport has a 4-minute cycle. Swan has, I think, a 3-minute cycle, as far as I know. 3.5 minutes, something like that. And there's Montgomery and his guard. I got the biggest whoosh of my life right there. That was nuts. Super glad I managed to get away from that. I wasn't actually sure I was going to be able to do that, but I'm glad I did, because that would have sucked. Ripping at that spot there. But anyways, we're in the tech crew, or not tech crew, technician disguise. We're just hanging out here. We're going to be waiting for the electrocution kill by Swan to be done. In the meantime, I need the dealer disguise for the consumed poison kill. And like I said, Davenport's going to drink right after the 5-minute mark. He drinks right after the 1-minute mark, right after the 5-minute mark, right after the 9-minute mark. He's on a 4-minute cycle. So there is the Swan kill electrocution. So that's technician electrocution done. I got the dealer sick, and he's going to be heading in here. I'm going to KO him, stuff him in the box, and change outfits right before we get the Davenport kill. So perfect timing on this. I took a few minutes to plan this one out in my head. after I got the spin dealt with, or not dealt with, but after I spun the spin, I had to actually think about this one for a bit, because I really wanted to get this one done first try, and I did manage to, but man, it was a bit of a bitch, I'll tell you that much. Thinking about the strategy in my head, there was always something else to account for. That one NPC that hangs out by Swan that could potentially go in the puddle and kill himself after it's electrified. He was a factor that I almost didn't account for until pretty much the last second there. So I'm glad I remembered to deal with his ass. But there's Davenport done. So this is turning out to be a pretty smooth sailing spin. On paper, seeing a spin like this come up is... It looks pretty daunting. I mean, you got a lot of situational kills here. I mean, electrocution, that's limited to like 4 or 5 targets in the whole map out of all 10 of them. Falling object, there's only a couple of targets you can take advantage of falling objects with. Thames is probably the one that I would go for most often. He just happens to be the easiest falling object target most of the time, although Davenport's quite easy as well. Swan can be easy, but he's, again, that NPC that's RNG that I secret earlier. He can be a pain in the ass for numerous reasons, including being in the spot under the chandelier that he was shoot down to kill Swan with a falling object. So he's a nightmare to deal with. So just a pain in the ass in multiple regards. I'm glad that we dealt with him. We got the Rolf disguise now. We're going to be getting the last 2 kills pretty quick here. Both of them are going to be on the rooftops. And we're going to be out of here in the next minute and a half or so, just under a minute and a half. So, pretty happy with how this spin turned out. Every other disguise we need is right up here. The kill methods are right up here. There's Green over here. I'm going to grab him. And I learned something new here. I didn't realize that these windows were not dumpable. You can't dump anybody out of these. What the fuck? Like, that makes no sense to me. It's so stupid. But whatever. Is what it is. It's fine. Windows you can't dump bodies out of. That's fine. So it's okay. Easy fall kills right over here by the railing. We're just going to dump Green right over here. Simple as that. And there we go. And see you later, bitch. See you in heck. So there's the Rolf Hirschmiller fall kill. Now we need the club security lab ballistic kill. Now, if all the bodies up here are KO'd, and you run up to this corner right here, right above these skylights, you can shoot lab ballistics up here, and they will, the gunshots will be heard. But it's sort of like the shooting a lab ballistic on the rooftop right by the laptop in Miami. If you've KO'd the nearby security guards, everybody will hear it. There will be a race marshal that hears the shot, and an event security that hears the shot, but nobody actually comes up to investigate. Same concept with that rooftop shot there. So, it's definitely a handy strat to know. Otherwise, loud ballistics can be a bit of a bitch on this map. But anyways, there we go. 5-star Sound Assassin, 754, sub 8 spin in Berlin. I mean, that's going to take the majority of competitions right there. That's a very competitive time. Sub 8 on any of the big 5 maps is always something you should give yourself a pat on the back for. Especially since I didn't even do a friggin' roll fluor strat here. And I got it first try. I mean, Berlin's my bitch, dude. I just wish I could, play it properly in tournament. But anyways, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Awesome fucking spin. Really love any Berlin spin is a good time. So, sick. All right, and sadly, that's it for Berlin. I can't believe it. We are almost done this series. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to fucking do with my life after this is over. We've only got 2 more maps in the trilogy to go through. I can't believe it. Of course, there are more maps coming out. Apparently, there's at least 1. So hopefully it's able to be done in Roulette so I can make another video about that one. Another What is Hitman Roulette video for that one. That'll be my 20th What is Hitman Roulette video, which is great. It's nice to have it be an even number because I'm OCD like that. But yeah, 2 more maps. Next time we're going to be discussing China, or, the way it's supposed to be called, Chongqing, but a lot of people can't pronounce that. Probably me included. I'm just pronouncing it the way I think it's supposed to be pronounced. That map is fucking incredible. I hope you really enjoyed this video here. I hope everybody learned something. I had a fucking blast doing this one. I taught myself a bunch of stuff about Berlin that I was either rusty on or I didn't really know outright, and I made sure I practiced it enough before I made this video, so I'm super happy with how everything turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope people got something from it, even if it was just one or two things that you can take away from this. I'm happy to help. Berlin is the fucking best map in the franchise. I hope that IOI makes more maps like this in the future that are at least similar. Maybe not as good, because I want Berlin to forever be on a pedestal just because I'm German and it takes place in Germany. And it's a nighttime mission, and I love nighttime missions. And it's a hunter and hunted style feel for a Hitman game. Makes you feel like an actual killer, and I love feeling like a killer in a video game. Because it's good shit. Am I fucked up for that reason? Probably. But anyways, see you guys next time in China. Much love as always, everybody. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm really happy with how everything's been going so far. It was a long time coming for this video here. It was about a month ago that I released Dartmoor, and then we did Roulette Rivals 7. And once that tournament started, I didn't want to release this video because I didn't want to give away all the Berlin strats during the tournament. So, get fucked. But hey, at least everybody's got the strats now for Roulette Rivals 8. So, enjoy. Take care, everybody. Until next time, keep rocking out and keep gaming.